Picture this. You're playing a beautiful piece, but every time you need to move to a new chord, there's an awkward pause that breaks the flow. Don't worry, I've helped piano players just like you discover the simple techniques that make all the difference. So today you're going to learn 2 specific steps that will transform your hand position and give you the confidence to move smoothly across the piano keys. Moving smoothly between piano positions is one of the biggest challenges for elementary and late elementary piano players. Is this what it sounds like for you right now? Well, here's what it can sound like with smooth hand position changes. So as always, you can find sunbeams through the canopy. That was the example on my website at the link in the description or the QR code right here. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Rosemarie. I've been teaching for over 20 years and composing imaginative piano music for nearly as long here at Must Love Music. Now, just a quick heads up, I've managed to hurt myself, and so I'll only be using my right hand to demonstrate today. But don't worry, I've got the perfect collection of pieces written for one hand, and both of these tips will work perfectly with either hand anyways. Everything that you do depends on playing with a relaxed hand position that can quickly and easily shift wherever your music goes. Let's start off with the foundation, using those 3 black key groups. First, let me show you what not to do, and we're going to do this away from the piano. Watch what happens when I try to move with very straight, rigid fingers. So I actually have some negative bend. Trying to make them flat, not natural for me. And I am trying to wiggle my fingers. Can you go ahead and try that on your own? Hold your fingers out like this. See how tense it feels. When I'm at the piano, if I'm trying to play those same things, you can see I'm going as straight as I can. Like it feels horrible. It sounds horrible. Now let's compare that to a gentle hand curve. Right? I was able to make it sound much more connected and it just feels natural. Try a gentle hand curve. There's a few ways you can do this, and actually using the 3 black key group is a great option here. Find a 3 black key group on your piano, put your 2, 3, 4 fingers, and that looks like this. So see how I have my 2, 3, 4 fingers and then my thumb and my pinky on the outside. I now have a relaxed hand shape. The other option is to put it on your knee. So when you're sitting and you put your hand on your knee, when you lift it, you're going to have a curved hand shape. And so notice how much more natural it feels when you wiggle your fingers. That just felt so much easier. Okay, now let's talk about wrist position. Put your wrists. Okay, so you've got the keys here. I want you to drop them. Pretend you're a rock climber, and you know how they hang on the ledge? And it's very much like this. When you're playing, if it's black keys, you will be further up, but if it's white keys, I have so many students. I've seen them do this. I want you to try and roll your wrist. Can you roll your wrist? Move it from side to side, up, down. Up feels good. Down, not so much. It really blocks all of your nerves right in here, and it just creates tension. And once again, let's go to that 3 black key group. Instead of going like this, I'm going to lift my wrist. I don't want to lift my shoulders, just my wrist. Once again, try rolling. Do you feel how all of a sudden you can move up, you can move down, you can move left, you can move right. You have 360 degrees of motion that feels comfortable. Most piano players, especially when they're starting out or in the first few years, don't realize just how important your bench position is. And I know you might be thinking, this is all basics. I'm not quite sure where we're talking about it. If you are late elementary, so you've been playing maybe for a few years here, you might be doing some of these things without realizing. You might have built up some habits. We all have them. Sometimes they don't serve us well. Go back to the basics every once in a while. Pull your bench super close, okay? Now, you might be thinking, Rosemarie, this is way too close. Nobody plays like this. Oh, nay. I have seen this close. Play E flat, G flat, B flat. Do you feel like your arms are a little T-Rexy here? It's usually what I call it, T-Rex arms. Now, keep in mind, what if I want to move this up? Do you see how much I have to lean in order to actually reach notes? And if I have to cross the midline, meaning I'm going opposite the middle of my body, I have to lean way more. and I just can't reach as easily. Now let's try something else. We're going to move the bench really, really far. So we couldn't really move very freely there. I am just barely able to touch the back of my piano here. And so we're going to play that E flat chord again. Oh, yeah, see, unless I lean forward a bunch, not necessarily. That range of motion is a little bit harder. We need Goldilocks zone. Usually what I tell my students is we want to move the bench, that when we make a fist and go forward, that's approximately where. Some people like sitting really far back on the bench so that you're basically at the end. Some people like sitting really far to the forward. You're barely on it. I like kind of a midpoint myself. You can experiment with it. You want 4 points of contact, each side of you, and then your feet. Now try playing that same chord. There was no tension for me to reach all the way to the top of my piano. Slight tension or twisting in order to reach the very lowest notes on the piano. The range of motion worked much better in my favor. You can even lean forward a little bit to use your body weight to create dynamics. So for example, or like just leaning forward, it immediately adds a little oomph to those notes because the whole weight of my body, I'm not using just my fingers anymore. Quick question, which muscles are bigger? The ones in your arms or the ones in your fingers? I have a feeling somebody's going to write down Captain Obvious in the comments. When you use your bigger muscle groups, you're using your whole body weight. You can use that to your advantage. You're not stressing out your fingers by trying to get very small, you can see they're not huge muscles. By using all of these things, the gentle hand curve, the wrist position, your bench position, as you get further in the music that you're playing, you're expected to reach more of the piano and you're expected to do it without big pauses. So listen, in my online studio, you'll actually start creating your own music using ideas like this from day one. I work with many neurodivergent learners, so everything's designed to be flexible and work with how you learn best. Plus, you get to improvise and compose right alongside building these techniques. It's way more fun than just drilling exercises. Want to see for a good fit? Well, check out mustlovemusic.ca or scan this QR code to book a free meet and greet. So now for step 2, moving beyond basic technique fingerings to make musical sense. Let me show you what I mean using our musical example. So Sunbeams Through the Canopy uses only black keys, which actually makes it a little easier to feel those hand shape changes. That's why I chose it for this example. By the way, if you want more practice with black key pieces or ideas, I've got a whole video on that, and it's probably up here. I'm going to use traditional root position fingering for these broken chords, but I'm going to keep my hand rigid in one shape. This is how you would play it if you're just starting piano. I'm moving my hand to each of those chord positions. Notice my hand had to, especially here, really had to jump around. And this is what I typically see from my students. So try it out on your own. It's an E flat minor chord and then G flat major chord and an E flat minor, G flat major. Okay, so try it out, just moving your hand position for each one of those chords and then come on back. So now here's a secret. You can still use that familiar 1-3-5, or if you were playing with your left hand, 5-3-1, if you change your hand shape. So watch this. I'm going to play, contract my hand shape for the next chord so that I can move like a spider, is usually what I think, into the new position, and I've immediately relaxed back to my natural hand shape once I'm there. So let's try that together. On your top note, contract and play bottom note. And notice as soon as I play that bottom note, I go back into a relaxed hand shape. We don't want to contracted or expanded for too long. We always want to go back to a natural hand shape. Here we're going to jump up. You could either cross your thumb under, which is what I usually do, or because it's a bit of a jump. So notice how that sounds different. Keeping same hand shape, contract and relax. You have little phrases now. You have little musical sentences. Here's another option. You could try something like 1-2-4, 1-3-5. Do you hear how much smoother it sounds? So that 1-2-4, what happens is I'm slightly extending, but it's between my thumb and my two fingers, so I'm not going to feel it as much. I'm immediately into my right, into that hand position. This is especially important for teens going through growth spurts. 1 week, the keys fit perfectly under your fingers, and the next week they feel like a toy piano. I have had many a student going through the growth spurts of like, why can't I just play this? Well, you know what? Your body is growing and we just have to adapt as that happens. But that's why checking out all the things from step 1, right? The relaxed fingers, the wrist slightly higher, the bench position. If you do that each time you sit down to play, it's really important and it sets you up for success. It helps you figure out if you need to use alternative fingerings like we just tried, or if something else with your setup just needs adjusting. There's always multiple options or multiple solutions. So by expanding and contracting our hand shape, we can really extend the range of the notes we play before needing a break in the sound. And that automatically makes your playing sound more advanced. So it isn't really about breaking rules. It's just about making musical choices that serve the music and that fit with where your body is in that moment of time. The goal is always we want smooth, connected playing that sounds effortless to your listeners. So now let's experiment with those same chords from Sunbeams Through the Canopy to really solidify these concepts. We're going to take the same chord sequence, but try it with different inversions. Let's do the original broken chord pattern for a quick review. Play along with me. We've got E flat minor to G flat major. Follow along, E flat minor, G flat major. Excellent. Now let's move each chord to first inversion, meaning we're taking our bottom note of each of those chords and we're moving it to the top. So our notes now become G flat, B flat, E flat, and then B flat, D flat, G flat. And we do it again, G flat, B flat, E flat, B flat, D flat, G flat. So go ahead, try it with me. So notice how your hand position and fingering choices might have to change. As soon as we're in an inversion, so for example, I was going 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 5. Okay, let's try the second inversion for each chord. B flat, E flat, G flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and again. Changes the sound, doesn't it? All right, so let's try that one together. I'm going 1, 3, 5 in this case. That feels comfortable to me. See how your hand feels different depending on which inversion you're playing. This is exactly the kind of experimentation that builds your instincts for smooth position changes. So here's a question for you. Which inversion, whether it was root, first, or second, felt most comfortable under your hands? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this tutorial, by the way, give it a thumbs up. As you test these things out, try mixing and matching inversions as you play through the sequence. There's no wrong answer here. You're building the skills to make these decisions naturally in your future pieces. Great job with those hand position strategies. These basics are going to help you in so many future pieces. By the way, check out the Singular Moments playlist to hear these techniques in action. And next week, we're diving into chord patterns that build on everything we covered today. Thanks and happy playing.